Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Welcome one and all to episode 189 of In Focus Friday, the show where we take a good close look at cool things made of silver or gold. Last week it was the turn of the Mexican 50 pesos coin, to be precise, 3 of them, because we have 3 and I'm so excited about that. It's my favourite gold coin. If you've not seen that video, there's a link down in the description below. Perhaps go and check it out after today's In Focus Friday, which is on the British silver half crown. Really, really lovely coin, steeped in history all the way back to when Britain wasn't even Britain, and it was the English half crown. Little known fact, the first ever half crown was in gold, not silver, and it was struck in the reign of King Henry VIII, so nearly 500 years worth of pedigree and history in this denomination of coin. It was first issued in silver in 1551, and then it sadly went out of silver circulation, silver anyway, in 1947, and then out of circulation entirely in 1970. So a long, long time and steeped in history. So we've got a selection of them here to have a look at and enjoy and talk about. And we'll also talk about them generally as coins that you might want to buy, collect, stack, and enjoy. So let's start with, well, let's start actually at the other end. So you'll notice here there are some coins which look slightly different, and they are the slightly more modern ones. So half crowns can be split into kind of 2 categories. Technically 3 categories. So there's the pre-1816 half crowns, which are all the various different monarchs that came before, and there's quite a lot of them, so I won't list them all here, but some famous names that you might have heard of: King Charles I. There was even a Oliver Cromwell half crown, but that's not necessarily in the same category as royals, all part of the English Civil War and everything. Queen Anne, King George II, and partially the third as well. It was only in 1816, when this man, the Mad King, was on the throne, that the half crown was standardised, and it was that up to this point they were all sterling silver, but they were slightly different weights and sizes depending on the year. Of course, minting technology had improved vastly in the preceding years up to this point, and it was now time to standardise these coins. So they were standardised at 32mm diameters, and they weighed 14.14 grams of sterling silver, which when you do the maths works out to be about 0.42 of an ounce of silver content. So really nice sort of size, just under half an ounce. And to put it in sort of size perspective, I've got a US $1/2 here, so you can see it's just about the same size. The $1/2 is slightly smaller, but they're comparable, but there is just a little touch more weight involved with the half crowns here. So really love these coins. Of course, going back through history, sterling silver is a really lovely metal to touch, hold and feel and enjoy. Now that's the oldest one that I've got. I want to jump right back to this era here, because these are all sterling silver, but these are all 50% silver, because in 1919 was the last year of sterling silver coinage in the UK. We then changed to 50% silver with the changing values of silver in the world and the amount that was needing to be used for coinage. It was evident that we had to make a change, so the British Empire changed their coinage from sterling silver to 50% silver, and this continued until 1947, when silver coinage was taken out of circulation in the United... Well, I say taken out of circulation, taken out of production. It was only taken out of circulation around the 1970s. So in theory, you could, from 1947 to 1970, still get and find silver in your coins. So this is the sort of 50% silver. You can see that they have a different sort of look to them. You can definitely tell they're sort of slightly less silver content. They just don't look quite as glorious and as gleaming and as lovely. And these are the coins that one could argue are the kind of junk end of the spectrum. Of course, there are potentially key dates in there. I haven't done research on the potential key dates of all of those silver coins in that year date, but generally speaking, these are what's called British junk, and you can pick them up at fairly decent prices. I say fairly decent because a lot of coin shops will still put quite high premiums on them, but I do see these coming up for sale in bulk lots on eBay, basically, and various other platforms. So, we can see here 2 of them are very, very worn, and you can see the sort of the rim there is very different, because this one here is in arguably much better condition. So condition does help, obviously, but the slightly more worn ones here are what I would say are your British British junk stackers. They are quite janky coins as well, but British junky stackers that you can probably pick up on the likes of eBay. I see them up on the Silver Forum for spot price, but know that you probably won't get much more than spot price for them unless you get a really good condition one that's a key date kind of thing. So that's one side of the half crown, not necessarily where my interest and enjoyment lies for them. But when we jump back over to the rest of the sort of history of these coins, you can see here I've got five different designs across 3 monarchs. Now these are all really nice coins that I've got. Again, some of them are a bit more collectible than others. Some key dates are a bit more collectible. Of course, the condition is really important, especially when you go back far enough. I love this 1817. This is one I picked up, I think, off eBay a while ago, a long time ago, sort of 5 or 6 years ago. It's nothing sort of overtly special in terms of its condition, but at the same time, it is really quite in good nick considering it's over 200 years old. So you can see here the theme on these coins are very regal. You've got the crest in the middle there with all of the heraldic kind of heraldry around it, and you'll probably recognise some of the beasts that are in there: the Lion of England, the Unicorn of Scotland, and these are all, or I think actually that might be the White Horse of Hanover from memory, because King George was a German. But anyway, lots of really interesting old heraldry there, and you'll recognise those beasts from the Queen's Beast is what I was going to say, with the crown on top, and then of course the Latin Britanniarum Rex Fid Def. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but I think it's all about King by the grace of God for Britain, basically. And then we've got Georgius III is his Latin name there. De Gratia, that's the by the grace of God, 1817. Look at him there, the Mad King. Not the most flattering of portraits, one would have to say. The design department back then probably got it wrong, but at the same time, he was a mad king, so perhaps he didn't really worry too much about his personal image. So that's the 1817, and it's very close to the 1816 kind of standardized date of when these coins started becoming that same size and weight, and it's the oldest one that I've got. From memory, it was quite an expensive buy for me, but it was, again, one of these ones which I wanted to have because it's kind of, it's got so much history steeped in it, and I absolutely love that. Now, the rest of these have all been eBay pickups as well, and they've all been auction pickups where I've seen a coin ending at like 2 a.m. in the morning or something, and they go for a really low price. They're nothing collectible in terms of grades, they're just enjoyable coins from the different eras. And here is the next one up in date form, which is from 1834, and you can see there's a distinct change in design. This one here has got a lot of pomp and ceremony, the one on the right from King George III, a lot of pomp and ceremony about it with all of its heraldic banners there, and the crowns and the sort of round design around them and everything. Here it's much more sort of understated. It's almost like you've got the curtains drawing back to show the shield, and it is of course of Julianus IV, William IV, Julianus being William in Latin. And again, there, all of his details. Slightly better portrait, I have to say, although this is quite a worn condition coin, so you can see it kind of looks like he's had his face splattered against a glass door or something. But really nice coin nevertheless. Lovely toning on this one. I really love it for its toning. Very, very different in the way it looks to all of the other crowns within this sort of era. Then we move into Queen Elizabeth. Now, there are a lot of earlier date Queen Victoria on the mind with Queen Elizabeth. But anyway, Queen Victoria is what I was meant to say. We move into that era. Now, there are plenty of other half crowns that date back to the earlier parts of Queen Victoria's reign, which started in 1837. I don't have those. Those tend to be a little bit more collectible. Obviously, the further back in time you go, the more valuable these coins get. And I have seen plenty of them in coin fairs and coin shops and things like that. But again, they come at a premium, and I'm not necessarily a hardcore collector of this type of coin, so we don't have too many to show. What I do have though is a variant of her portraits, which is I think quite nice to show. So we've actually got all 3 different portraits that Queen Victoria had on her coinage, and this is interesting because it shows kind of her own vanity to her own self-image, because in 1887 she was arguably a fairly elderly monarch by then, and she's still using her young head portrait. You put that in perspective here to this coin, which is again in 1887, her Jubilee year, and so she has her Jubilee celebration coin for the half crown, and you can see the difference in the way that she looks there. It's very, very different. So it's interesting that they were still using the the old portrait, the young older portrait of her. So this is the young portrait of the half crown, and it's again very heraldic. Lots of sort of regal wreaths there with the obviously coat of arms and the crown. It's very similar in its design, look and feel to the 1817 crown that we have here of King George. And of course there, all of the other bits. The only thing that's changed, instead of Rex, we've got Regina, which is of course Queen rather than King. And on the other side, it's again Victoria with the date. Now you'll notice on these particular coins, the older ones, we haven't seen the word half crown. On the latest one, on the latest ones, on the moderner ones from 1922, you can see half crown written on them. Oh, by the way, incidentally, we haven't even talked about what half crown is. Half crown is an eighth of a pound. Back then, it's all very complicated. I don't even really understand it all myself, but an eighth of a pound. Yeah, we're not really going to go too much into the denominations. Again, Victoria, this is her 1887, no mention of half crown, and that is because only in, I forget the exact date, I had it up here on the screen a minute ago, but there was a specific date, I think it was around 1894, they started writing half crown on the coins, and this is a new design. As you can see, there's a change here as well for this lovely kind of looking shield. I quite like this. It reminds me of the Spade Guinea. It's got that spade shield rather than the more sort of flat shield, and I kind of like it. I think it's quite cool, although I do think that the lettering seems a little bit big compared with the others. I think they could have maybe done a bit bigger of a design on the actual shield and everything, but again, it all harks back to this lovely design from King George III. There's a lot of similarities there. It's just, of course, changed a little bit over time. So that's basically my collection of half crowns. We've got a nice smorgasbord here of the different designs throughout the history of this half crown, and one of the things that makes these half crowns so popular in the older kind of coin collecting world is that eclectic look of designs. And as I said, the history steeps back all the way to the 1500s, and if you do look to collect even just one from every single monarch or one of every single type, there's an awful lot to target and go through and grab. So lots of interesting kind of coins to collect and things to enjoy all about the half crown, and I really do like them. Personally though, for me, it's not really about collecting, having a date run of these. That's something I'm not really too familiar with in terms of that market, in terms of what good prices would be for different years. Of course, you can learn so much from different coin books and collectors out there, and places like the Silver Forum. I'm sure there are lots of half crown collectors that have extensive collections, and there are some incredibly valuable ones out there for sure. So yeah, lots of really interesting things to think about if you are interested in the half crown coins, in terms of stacking for weight. The later ones, the 50%ers, are probably your best bet, but you can sometimes pick up some pretty good deals on some of the sort of early 1900s sterling silver half crowns. So there we go. I hope you have enjoyed this little tour of the half crown from the British Empire, back all the way as well to when it was known as England rather than Britain. Really interesting, I think, and I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comment section. So please do feel free to comment with your thoughts on this coin. Let me know if you have some. Let me know if you are going to look to get some because I've showed them to you. And also let me know if I've missed any important information out, or if you've got any interesting facts or figures about some of these half crowns, then please do feel free to share those down below. Otherwise, if you enjoyed today's video, then please make sure you hit the thumbs up on it and share it around on your social media. That would be very helpful for everything that we do here on the channel. And if you want to see videos from us in the future, then make sure that you hit that alarm bell and it will give you a notification when I upload. Otherwise, that is it. My usual shout out to all key workers and healthcare providers. Thank you so much for all of your hard work. Everybody else, please make sure you stay at home, stay safe, and have a good one. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching, and please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.